Hi, my name is Darren and welcome to Coffee Hammer. In today's video we'll be continuing with our Spearhead review series with the new Slaves to Darkness Spearhead for 4th edition, the Darkoath Raiders. For those who are new to Spearhead or just randomly clicked on this video, Spearhead is a fast-paced, simple to learn and play game mode for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. It still uses the same core rules as full-scale AOS, but without the addition of the advanced rules. Each Spearhead is a pre-constructed army that has its own war scroll, battle traits and abilities that are unique. Every army has at least one Spearhead so far, with the addition of one new 4th edition Spearhead when the army's battle tome is released. So far we've had one new Spearhead armies for Stormcast Eternals, Skaven, Slaves to Darkness and Orc War Clans, with Gloomspite Gits and Soulblight Gravelord Spearheads coming very soon. The Darkoath Raiders is the Spearhead army for Slaves to Darkness in Age of Sigmar 4th edition. It features the new model range of Darkoath units that replace the army's older Chaos Marauders that were released more than around 15 to 20 years ago. These models are really nice. They have some really nice dynamic poses and they look like they are actually fighting. These models really capture that warrior barbarian nature that the Darkoath tribes have. If you like Conan the Barbarian and the Dothraki from Game of Thrones, you are going to love the Darkoath. So what do you actually get in this Spearhead army? Well, you get 1 Darkoath Warqueen, 10 Darkoath Marauders, 10 Darkoath Savagers and 5 Darkoath Fellriders. The new Darkoath models were released literally less than a year ago at the end of AOS 3rd edition in May 2024, while the Warqueen came out back in February 2018 and the Darkoath Savagers, these guys were originally for Warcry. This warband came out in November 2021, so all the models are relatively new and designed for AOS. When it comes to value, if you were to buy each unit separately at GW price, it would cost you around a total of £132, but buying the Spearhead box you would save yourself £44.50, which is around a 33% discount. As a side note, you can't buy the Darkoath Savagers on its own on the GW store anymore, so if you wanted to get these models specifically, you will need to buy the Spearhead box or check online like eBay for the kit. Alright, now that we know what we get in the Spearhead, let's look at deployment and battle traits. Deployment, there is no restrictions during deployment for this army, which is great, so you start with your whole army on the battlefield, and for the battle trait, this is where it gets interesting. Oath of Darkness, this is a once per turn army, your hero phase ability. You can reveal 1 battle tactic card in your hand to your opponent. While this battle tactic card is your oath, you can still use the command on it or attempt to score the battle tactic on it as normal. If you score the battle tactic on your oath this turn, your oath is fulfilled. Instead of discarding the card, it's placed to one side, but you can still use the command on it. Once you do so, the card is discarded as normal. Fulfilled oaths placed to one side in this way do not count towards the 3 battle tactic cards you have in your hand. If you use the command on your oath before it is scored, it is discarded as normal. At the end of the turn, if the oath is still in your hand and that oath has not been fulfilled, it ceases to be your oath. Okay, this is quite a unique and very thematic battle trait for the Darkoath. When it comes to playability, it's got some positives and some negatives, which we're going to go through. What's good about this battle trait is that it lets you double dip on a card's battle tactic and command ability. You're going to be scoring battle tactics, or trying to anyways, at the end of your turn, so it's a nice little additional benefit. Some cards have some very strong command abilities which you want to use after scoring the battle tactic. The negative part of this battle trait is that it relies heavily on you drawing the right cards and scoring those battle tactics. Sometimes you are not able to score the battle tactics with the cards that you drew, or your opponent was able to stop you from achieving that battle tactic. Because you have to reveal the battle tactic in your hero phase, your opponent gains that knowledge and can play or plan around it accordingly. All in all, it's an okay battle trait. It requires you to plan and position your units carefully to achieve your oath, but it can feel like it's a bit crap when your opponent disrupts and denies your oath battle tactic, or they just pressure you with their stronger units, making you use the command on the oath before you score the battle tactic. The Darkoath Warqueen is your general. She moves 5 inches with 5 health on a 5-up save with a control value of 2 and a 5+ ward save. She has 5 attacks that hits on 4s, wounds on 3s, rend 1, damage 1 with crit mortals. Her Oath of Supremacy is an ability that you do in your hero phase. you pick a friendly unit wholly within 12 inches of your general to be the target. Until the start of your next turn, add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by the target. As a foot hero, she's pretty average, but can spike some damage with the crit mortals. Her 5+ ward makes her a bit more survivable. Her ability to give +1 to hit rolls for friendly units until the start of your next turn, that's very good though. It can last during your turn and your opponent's turn. Just make sure the unit that you're targeting is wholly within 12 inches of her in your hero phase. Next up we have the Darkoath Savagers. This Warcry warband has 10 models, one of which is the God Speaker. They move 5 inches, have 1 health on a 5+ save and a control value of 1. They have 2 attacks each, hitting on 4s, wounding on 3s, no rend, damage 1, but they do have crit mortals. Their special ability, Visions of Glory, is in your hero phase. If this unit includes a God Speaker, so if the God Speaker is still alive, roll 8 dice. For each 6 until the start of your next turn, you can re-roll 1 hit roll, 1 wound roll, 1 run roll, or 1 save roll for this unit. First off, they are fragile, 1 health each on a 5+ save. These guys will die in combat if they get slapped, but if they slap first, they have the potential to do lots of mortal damage. With 20 attacks, you should be averaging out 3 to 4 mortal damage, then a couple more from the normal attacks. The best re-rolls would be for wound rolls, because of the conversion on the dice is easier on a 3+ to wound than let's say the 4+ to hit or the 5+ for save rolls. Run roll is also good when you want to run these guys onto an objective and far away from any danger. Re-rolling a run of a 1 or 2 can get this unit the extra few inches you need them to. Neat little unit that can dish out the damage with their crit mortals and potentially re-rolling a wound roll or 2. Moving on, we have the Darkoath Fellriders. These are your light cavalry unit that move 12 inches, have 3 health each on a 5+ save and a control value of 1. The horses have their regular horse attacks, but the riders, they have 2 attacks each, hitting on 4s, wounding on 3s, no rend, damage 1, with the weapon ability charge +1 damage. Their swift attacker's passive ability subtracts 1 from hit rolls or shooting attacks that target this unit. It's a nice little ability when you're up against shooting units, making them less desirable for your opponents to shoot at. These guys also have the reinforcement keyword, letting you bring back the whole unit in your movement phase when they have been destroyed. Having the reinforcement keyword is great on these guys. You're most likely going to be charging into combat and dealing as much damage as possible before they eventually get destroyed. They also move 12 inches, which is great on a smaller board size, so you can get onto those objectives. You can also use the Fellriders to flank your enemy and target those weaker and more vulnerable units. And for the final unit, we have the Darkoath Marauders. This is a unit of 10 models that move 5 inches, have 1 health each on a 5+ save and a control value of 1. They have 2 attacks each, hitting on 4s, wounding on 3s, no rend, damage 1. Their Glorious Death passive ability, while this unit is wholly within 12 inches of your general, each time a model in this unit is slain by a combat attack and that model was in combat with the attacking unit, roll a dice. On a 5+, inflict 1 mortal damage on the attacking unit after the fight ability has been resolved. Your Marauders won't be dealing a lot of damage with their fight abilities, but they can punch above their weight a bit when they die and deal those mortal damage back to the attacking unit. They also have the reinforcement keyword, just like the Fellriders. So after this unit gets destroyed and you deal a handful of mortal damage, just bring these guys back with the Core 4 reinforcement ability. But remember, Core 4 reinforcements is a once per turn your movement phase ability, so if you're in a situation where both your Fellriders and your Marauders have been destroyed, you can only bring 1 unit back at a time with this ability. Now that we've seen the War Scrolls, the 2 Regiment Abilities you can choose from really levels up your units from being a bit underwhelming to pretty good. Rage of Akar, once per turn army, any combat phase. Pick a friendly unit in combat to be the target. For the rest of the turn, add 1 to the rend characteristic of the target's melee weapons. This does not affect companion weapons. This is a great ability that helps your units cut through your enemy's armor saves. All your units except your general don't have any rend on their weapon profiles. The Savagers might not need it as much as the other 2 because they have crit mortals on their attacks. The best target for this ability of course is your Darkoath Fellriders on the turn that they've charged because they have damage 2 on their weapons. Pair this ability with your Warqueen's Oath of Supremacy. You can give +1 to hit rolls and +1 rend to your Fellriders' damage 2 attacks, making them a lot stronger. Your other regiment ability, Fearless Invaders. Once per turn army, your movement phase, you pick a friendly unit that's in combat to be the target. If the target uses a retreat ability this turn, no mortal damage is inflicted on it, and it can still use charge abilities later in the turn. This is also another great regiment ability. Retreating without taking mortal damage and able to charge in the same turn is really useful for any of your units, especially your Fellriders. Getting that +1 damage on the charge is really important. Both of these regiment abilities are strong, and it depends on your playstyle whether you want to have the extra rend or the more versatile retreat and charge. So give both of these a go when you play your games. When it comes to enhancements for your general, you can have a choice of the Bloodthirsty Blade. The rend characteristic of your general's rune etched axe is 2. Godshadow Talisman, your general has 4+ ward. Champion of Raids, in your charge phase, pick another friendly unit wholly within 12 inches of your general to be the target. The target can re-roll charge rolls for the rest of the turn. And Fell Ritualist. Each time you draw battle tactic cards, if your general is on the battlefield, you can choose to draw 1 additional battle tactic card. Then put one of your battle tactic cards in your hand back at the bottom of your battle tactics deck. Alright, Rend 2 on your general's axe attacks isn't too bad. Giving her a 4+ ward, however, seems a lot stronger, making her a bit more survivable. Reroll charge rolls for a unit isn't too important. Your Marauders are going to be protecting your general anyways, so they're going to be absorbing the charges. Your Fellriders, they're fast enough to go around your enemies or go close enough to make a easier charge roll, and your Savagers, they're going to be moving around the battlefield. So that's probably the weakest one. The most interesting one, and probably the strongest enhancement, is the Fell Ritualist one. Drawing 1 additional battle tactic card and putting 1 card back lets you plan around your battle trait better. Your battle trait is already relying on you drawing battle tactics that you can score, so having the opportunity to view 4 cards is invaluable. I'll rank Fell Ritualist as the best one, followed by Godshadow Talisman and Bloodthirsty Blade, with Champion of Raids at the bottom. Overall, the Darkoath Raiders Spearhead is a lightly armoured and agile force that wants to engage in combat on their terms. They want to trade up, and when they do die, bring them back with the reinforcement ability. The battle trait allows you to turn the battle tactics into oaths, so you can both score the victory points and use the command ability on the oath. This army can be challenging to play for beginners. The lower armor saves and relatively weaker war scrolls makes poor engagement and movement more punishing. However, overcoming the challenges of this army and leveraging your weaker units effectively is an amazing learning opportunity for new players to get better at their game. I'll be giving this army a score of 2.5 out of 5. The army only has 1 fast unit and everything else moves 5 inches. It has average damage output that requires certain buffs and bonuses from command abilities. The army-wide 5+ save makes them weak to shooting and combat attacks that have any sort of rend. Although the Fellriders and Marauders have reinforcement abilities, there is no access to healing or bringing models back to damaged units. The strength of the army depends on how the player utilizes the battle trait and the command abilities from the battle tactic cards. The question is, would I recommend this Spearhead to new players? If you're only interested in playing Spearhead and not for Age of Sigmar, and you really like the look and the playstyle of this army, then go ahead, yes. The Darkoath have a really cool aesthetic, and the unique battle trait makes them fun to play. They feel like the underdogs facing the more superhuman and supernatural races of the Mortal Realms. If you're thinking of playing for Age of Sigmar though, I would recommend going with the other Slaves to Darkness Spearhead first before thinking of getting this one. I've already made a review of the Slaves to Darkness Bloodwing Legion Spearhead on my channel if you want to go check that one out. Thank you for sticking to the end of the review. I hope you found this video useful, and if you have started playing this Spearhead, please tell me in the comment section down below how you are finding this army. Like if you like the video. Every like on this video will be a dark oath to the Chaos Gods. Subscribe for more Age of Sigmar and Spearhead content. I'll see you all in the next video.